You guys will never guess what I'm drawing next. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's another cyborg? Pretty much. As I've always said, cyborgs are fun. Nice to draw. Good little thing to work on. Also, I'm back from my vacation. It was a pretty good time last week. I managed to roll my ankle and it hasn't quite recovered yet, but, other than that, I had a great time. But it's good to come back to drawing, get some more work done. It's amazing how missing this for a week has made me completely forget how to actually speak into a microphone. I mean, it's not like I really knew before, but this week it's definitely not as comfortable as I was the last time around. I guess that's just what happens when you're not used to talking, and then you stop. But at the very least, at this point, this has become my longest YouTube series. Hooray, congratulations. Still, the hardest thing is to figure out what I actually want to talk about in these audio parts, because that's just something I've never been good at. I know I've mentioned this before, but it might be a good idea for me to actually start using a script rather than figuring out what I'm going to talk about in the moment. But at least I'm not umming and ahhing nearly as much as I was before, so that helps cut it down a little bit. Anyway, time to get off that tangent. In this drawing, I wanted to go for the feeling of something I drew a couple of years back, I don't quite remember when, where a cyborg was getting disassembled. Because it's always fun, a cute cyborg getting some maintenance, it's always a good thing. And I guess in this one, the character is taking a bit of a beating, if you've seen the original drawing. And I figure, that's a good reason to get some maintenance done. I wanted to go for a more peaceful sort of maintenance and disassembly, because I know the classic trope is like, oh no, cyborg's getting ripped to pieces. And yeah, it feels like it's one of those things where it's like been there, done that. And it's always nice to just do something relaxing. About halfway through the drawing, I figured I was getting pretty close to being done, but then I decided I wanted to go into a bit more detail, in part to flesh out the recording a bit more, in part because I felt like the drawing deserved it. So I ended up putting them in like an examination room. And that definitely wasn't thought out in advance as well as it should have been, so I kind of had to shove things in and kind of make it look right, but I feel it worked out in the end. Even if it was a bit weird and I had to push some things together, it was still fun to draw a background. That's something that I neglected for so long, just because it felt like it was hard. But doing any sort of background adds a lot of story and character. To be cliche, it helps ground the drawing. Wow, the background grounds the drawing. Yeah, I know, it's fucking stupid, but it's how it is. It really makes things feel a lot better. As much as I'm a fan of just a little gradient and calling that a background, it's just not as visually interesting most of the time. And I guess as a bit of advice, your background really doesn't have to be that detailed. Like, some detail generally helps, but it doesn't need to be perfect, I guess is the phrase I should have used. Like, you definitely can't have all your perspective lines pointing completely different ways unless that's really what you intended. But things can be off by a couple degrees, and it'll still look pretty good. You also don't have to finish shapes nearly as much. Again, like unless your art style really requires it, you can be pretty loose with a background, and it'll still get the point across. And it'll help focus your character a bit more, because like if the background was as detailed as the character was, then your eyes would kind of get lost in it. As another little anecdote about this drawing, I wanted to have a little x-ray view in the background. Because, it's always interesting to have an examination room that shows, an examination. But I realized I have no idea how to draw organs, and I'm not very good at, where they actually are. So I had to Google that about halfway through. But even, my rough guess was reasonably close. I guess that's because I play Surgeon Simulator. So, yeah, I guess you can trust me to be a doctor now, right? I also added a couple minor details in regards to how the prosthetics actually work. What with a giant fucking heart pump and random cables connected everywhere. Just to make it look, a little sloppy, but kind of reasonable. Even if that is not where you would put any of that in a real person, because it would probably be an absolute mess. And like, dude, why would you fucking shove a heart pump on the side of someone's heart? I guess she really had some strenuous physical activity that she just needed a little boost in, you know? And these plug-and-play arms that she's got going, probably a good idea for replacing them, but I don't know how strong that's going to be in use. It looks like it's about time to wrap things up here. I definitely feel like the shorter videos are better to work with in regards of actually voicing them, because, frick, I don't know how to fill 10 minutes. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys next time.